Not long ago, I took shelter in this very same pipe. It was during a rainstorm that came out of nowhere, like it always does, or often does in Highveld. And the rain was beating and the wind was blowing, but it was the thunder and lightning that made me think about taking shelter until it was over. And I thought about King David in the Bible, in Psalm 23, where he wrote in verse 4, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." It was almost like David was writing this verse because he was in a storm in his life and he realized that he needed to take shelter. And then the next verse, David goes on to say, "You prepare a table for me in the midst of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over." David not only discovered that God had a shelter for him, but he discovered that it was also a pipeline to his provisions in the time of need. I think David had discovered a key, that it was God who was for him, and he was more concerned about who was for him than he that was against him. I have this imaginary picture of verse 5 of God preparing a table in the midst of the battleground for David, putting food on it and inviting him to come and sit down in the midst of the bullets that are flying over his head, the bombs that are breaking overhead, and the enemy that is shouting for his blood. And yet David remained calm in the midst of that storm. We all go through storms. We all need a shelter. We all need a pipeline to resources when our relationships are down. I believe God's got the answer to these things. Think about it.